What's going on, Jerome's? Week 5 NFL action is nearly in the books. You only have Monday Night Football left to go. You have Raiders at Chiefs. Spoiler, the Chiefs are really, really good. That's it. But, of course, we love talking about our Minnesota Fighting Vikings, but we occasionally like to venture out. So here's 12 things we learned about the rest of the National Football League in Week 5. Number 1, yum time. Aaron Rodgers is washed, man. So the fact that you, and supposedly this greasy grimy Green Bay Packers defense is supposed to be so big and bad, but you get rolled up on by Daniel Jones. Come on, man. Come on. But losing over in London, 29-22. And here's the thing. The Packers got off to a fast start in that game, and it looked like, okay, maybe the Packers will blow them out, blah, 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 whatever. But after the Giants came roaring back, the Packers had no answers. And Rodgers, who, before the alleged back-to-back NFL MVP, just thrown it up to Devontae Adams, it ain't working. It ain't working. Now you can blame, he's just got chemistry issues with these young receivers, blah, blah, blah. But it ain't it, man. It just seems like he's throwing up interceptable balls. He's tossing up hospital balls out there. And the Packers legitimately are a running and a jet sweep team. This is a high school offense operated, again, by the alleged back-to-back NFL MVP. Just hate to see it, man. And the Vikings are one up in the NFC North, plus they have a leg up in the head-to-head, so it's fantastic, man. Next up, number 2, same game. Brian Daboll has the Giants playing well. Don't look now, but the New York Football Giants are looking pretty damn good. So getting that win over in London, they're 4-1. They beat the Packers. They beat the Titans week 1. They lost in a close game to the Cowboys and Cooper Rush, but they're looking pretty damn good. And what's amazing is that Brian Daboll is doing this without a quarterback. Daniel Jones is not the answer. He never was, and he never will be. So the Giants are going to be shopping for a quarterback of the future. It's a pretty good draft to do it, but are they playing themselves out of contention for drafting said quarterback because they're having success? And Saquon Barkley, whether it's him running the ball or him legitimately lining up as a Wildcat quarterback, doesn't matter. Plus, what's crazy is they're doing this without Kadarius Toney, last year's first-round pick. Has been a bit of a bust. Or, the high-priced free agent, Babytron, he can't even get on the field. So it's amazing, man. Like, the defense is starting to come together. Really happy for our guy Andre Patterson over with the Giants. And Daboll, I love him, man. He's Canadian Santa Claus. Absolutely adore him, man. Next up, number 3. Speaking of Brian Daboll's former team, the Buffalo Bills. So Bills Chiefs is going to be epic, and the Bills just absolutely gobsmacked the Steelers. Like, Kenny Pickett was not good in his debut. What can you do? The Steelers, like we said, the Steelers are a bad team, and they're lucky that they had that fluke overtime win week 1 against the Bengals, because this is going to be a long season for Mike Tomlin. I don't think that they would fire him, but that's crazy, man. But the Bills offense, Josh Allen threw for 424 yards and 4 touchdowns. He basically had that at halftime. They really took their foot off the gas. They put up 31 in the first half, and then they're just like, whatever. But Chiefs and Bills at Arrowhead next week in the late time slot, that's going to be fantastic. That's must-see football, baby. Love to see it. Next up, also, Gabe Davis. 3 catches for $171 and 2 touchdowns. Let's go. Next up, number 4. Things could get very messy in Denver. So this is all the way back on Thursday. Seems like 2 months ago. But they lost against the Colts, 12-9, 0 touchdowns scored. Hey, Broncos country. Let's ride. Where things are falling apart at the seams. Because not only did you give Russell Wilson a $250,000 contract with over $103 million fully guaranteed, but things are starting to crack. Like, you have members of the media, you have former Seattle Seahawks just openly calling out Russell Wilson, mocking him, and they're just waiting for this time. It's like, once you stumble, all of a sudden, all of your idiosyncrasies, all of your flaws, all of a sudden they get magnified and they get tossed out in public. Now, is some of this fair? Maybe. Like, his relationship with his wife, Ciara, I don't think that's necessarily fair. I think the way that he interacted with some of his teammates in Seattle, I think that's certainly fair. But, things are going to get messy because let's not forget, our guy, Jumpin' George Payton, former Vikings assistant GM, hired as their GM last year. He hired Nathaniel Hackett. He traded for Russell Wilson. He gave Russell Wilson that contract. And with the Waltons taking over ownership of the Broncos, they may just look at this and be like, hey, this team was supposed to be good. It's absolute hot garbage. We're firing Peyton. We're firing Nathaniel Hackett, one and done. And we're going to find someone to take Russell Wilson off of our hands and just completely start over. I mean, it's getting to that point because the brand of football that they're playing is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Plus, they just lost Garrett Bowles, their stud left tackle, with an injury. Javonte Williams went down with a torn ACL. All they have left is Melvin Gordon and the marvelous Mike Boone. Let's not forget that. So, yeah, things are going to get really, really ugly for the Broncos, and it's going to be kind of entertaining. Not going to lie. Next up, thing number 5. Because, hey, sure, it's really funny when it's not your team that's a complete dumpster fire. I mean, just because it's a fire doesn't mean that you can't get warmth from it, man. Next up, Philly is legit. So, big-time test on the road. Philadelphia going out over to Arizona, all the way across the time zones, playing a sort of a tough, plucky Arizona team. I mean, they can come in fits and spurts, but Kyler Murray and company, they didn't get it done in the desert. It was a game. They missed the potential game-time field goal right at the end of regulation. So the Eagles survive. They moved to 5-0. Only 5-0 team in the National Football League. Jalen Hurts with 2 rushing touchdowns. Now their schedule opens up a little bit, but I mean, the rest of the NFC least outside of the commies is going to be tough. I mean, the Giants are going to play them tough. The Cowboys are going to play them tough. So it's really going to be fantabulous to watch. Where, I mean, the NFC East has traditionally not been a great division, but they look pretty good this year. And Philly, I love that Philly gets it done in the trenches, both sides. We'll see how severe that Kelsey injury is, but whatever. 6. Niners aren't going away. So they went over to Carolina and completely smacked that all on the floor. By the way, Matt Rule, by the time you watch this on Monday, Matt Rule might be fired because I think that it's time to make a change in Carolina. Matt Rule is not an NFL head coach. I don't care how much David Tepper gave him in a contract. Matt Rule is a fantastic college coach. He'll go back to a Power 5 program, take over, recruit great. He seems like a good dude, but the NFL is just not for him. It just ain't happening, man. But the Niners aren't going away. And Kyle Shanahan, he wants to play that bully ball. He wants to get physical. The Niners probably have one of the better defenses in the National Football League. Top 3 at least, if not the best. And San Francisco, they're getting done up front, even without Trent Williams. They're tough and physical. Our guy Jeff Wilson, my name Jeff. 4 straight 100-yard games, put one in the end zone. Loving him in fantasy. The only drawback is Jimmy G. I don't know how far the Niners can go with Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes, they won last year in the playoffs against the 1 seed Packers up in Lambeau, but Jimmy Garoppolo, they didn't have an offensive touchdown. They had a special teams touchdown and a couple of defensive things, but I don't know. I love Debo, love Jeff Wilson. I even like Brandon Ayuk, but and also hey diddle diddle Kittle up the middle, but I don't know, man. 7. I mean, they are leading the NFC West. The Jaguars are crowned too early. So, oh, boy. So, the way that Trevor Lawrence had operated the first couple games, we're like, okay, he's legit. This is what we saw at Clemson. The Jaguars are greatly benefiting from your quarterback on his rookie deal. He can spend money elsewhere. Christian Kirk looks good. Marvin Jones looks good. They got some nice young pieces on defense, but so they got smacked by Philly. And then you come home. Did you know that the Jaguars have lost 9 straight to the Texans? How is that possible? I could have swore the Texans went winless one year. That's not true, but it seems true, doesn't it? But the Jaguars, yeah, you come home to Duval and you just lay an egg like this. And the Texans aren't even that good, but respect to Lovie Smith and company. But Trevor Lawrence, 7 turnovers in the last 2 games. They ain't going to get it done. No. But Dougie Fresh, back to the drawing board. They'll be back. Number 8. The league still protects Tom Brady. So the Falcons had a shot to upset the Bucs as double-digit underdogs, and it just didn't happen because of probably the worst roughing the passer call that you've seen in a long time. Right? And Jerome Boger is a longtime NFL official, and he actually was. Actually, I think refs generally have press conferences, but with one pool reporter. But they talked about how Grady Jarrett unnecessarily threw him to the ground. It's a split-second bang-bang thing. I don't know. But, yeah, the NFL benefits from having Brady and the Bucs be relevant. But I don't know, man. I don't know. There's bad calls all the time. Officials are human, and the rules aren't perfect, but it seems to always cut in one direction, huh? Kind of crazy, man. Next up, number 9. Dolphins are imploding. So, hey, remember when they were 3-0 and the apple of everyone's eye? They just beat the Bills, even though they should have removed Tua. But winning, all that stuff. But Tua may be out for a while. Teddy got dinged up. Well, McDaniel said that he cleared concussion protocol, but with the new rules, they held Teddy out. I don't know if I buy that, but we'll see. And so they're down to the quarterback 3. 7th-round pick Skylar Thompson out of Kansas State. They got shellacked by the Jets. Tyreek Hill is in a walking boot. Taron Armstead might be done for the year. So they may be in free fall, man, because everyone and their mom thought the Dolphins, hey, they're going to give the Bills a run for their money in the AFC East. They already have one up in the head-to-head, but now it's coming crashing down fast. I mean, the way that medical staff, it's perceived how they handled the Tua situation, how they trotted him back out there, I have no idea, but it's coming. It's not looking good. And the Vikings roll into Miami. They opened as 1-point underdogs, and now they're 3-point favorites. That's how fast things swung in Vegas for the Vikings. Next up, number 10. Seahawks have the worst defense in the NFL. So Seattle, how do you score 32 points on the road and lose? Right? And you know what's amazing is that the week before, they went to Detroit, and they won 48-45. Big 12 country all the way up in here. But How do you allow Taysom Hill to be part of 4 touchdowns? I mean, Andy Dalton and company and Alvin Kamara, they just ran buck wild on you. Like, how does that happen? You've given up 84 points in 2 games. And I know that everyone and their moms talk about, Tariq Woolen, the NFL draft overthought him. Yeah, he's one good player, but their defense, their front 7, they have 0 pass rush. They can't stop the run, but other than that, they're really, really good. It's just rough, man. Plus, Rashad Penny going down with that broken leg. That sucks. That just sucks, man. Number 11. The Lions are in trouble. So the Lions are 1-4, and I actually think that Vikings loss broke them. The game that they should have won at US Bank Stadium week 3, but they gave it away now at the end, and then they scored 45 points at home and lost against Seattle week 4. And then they just go out to New England and drop an egg against Bailey Zappi. But, by the way, Bailey Zappi may be legit. I think there might be a quarterback controversy in New England between Mac Jones and the pride of Western Kentucky. But I like Dan Campbell, man. But 1-4 is 1-4, and you were garbage last year. And it's not uncommon for NFL head coaches to be fired after 2 unproductive seasons. So I like him a lot. It seems like the players like him a lot. They do have some talent. Mainly from being garbage on the field and then getting good draft picks, but it's not clicking. It ain't happening, man. So I don't know what's going to go on in Detroit. Lastly, thing number 12 that we learned, the Rams are very, very poopy. So the Rams have won 0 Super Bowls without Kevin O'Connell, except for 99, but that doesn't matter. But 2-3, and they've been completely undressed at home. Week 1 against the Bills, last week against the Niners on Monday Night Football, and then now this week against the Cowboys. It's embarrassing that their offense has to use the silent count at home just because the hometown fans, they ain't there. And the stadium, the $5 billion SoFi Stadium is being, or whatever it's called, is being filled with opposing fans who make a trip out to LA. And it's the same problem with the Raiders in Vegas, man. And you know what? The Rams never had to use silent count at home in St. Louis. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Just like, there's a reason why the NFL took multiple decades off in LA. It's too transient of a city. It's tough to build up an organic home fan base. I just don't know. I just don't know, man. On the flip side of that, Cooper Rush, 5-0 as a starter, baby. Is looking good. And frankly, this may sound weird, but you have to respect Mike McCarthy. I mean, the Cowboys are 4-1. They're getting it done on the ground with Zeke and Pollard. And Cooper Rush is doing just enough in the passing game. So, I don't know. Like Dak is probably going to be medically cleared at some point here soon. But do you take out the hot hand? I don't think you do. I think you have to literally play the rush, pun intended. So we'll see. But that's it. Those are 12, 13, 14-ish things that we learned NFL Week 5. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.